We promised you some silly segs this week, so silly segs are what you'll get. This episode, we invited former Hot Topic employee and Tide Pod Challenge survivor, Priscilla, back into the pod loft to share all the little ADHD things that make her oh-so-quirky. From her sage plant mom advice, to her clever guest-created Urkle-based Alternative Segment, to her inability to turn left, Priscilla will keep you laughing while simultaneously inspiring you to get out there and pound that sand. Plus, Grace embraces her eclectic side. Kristin is a noodle person who may not be a strong multitasker, but she has a job. And we all take sides during a heated debate over the proper chew-to-swallow ratio that goes on for far longer than you would like.
They said that we'd grow out of it. Well, the joke's on them, that's just our brains. We're eccentric, loud, and stubborn, and most of our clothing is covered in stains. It's not a deficit of attention, there's just too much to think about. So if executive dysfunction becomes a little too much, if you forgot why you came in this room, or you're hypersensitive to touch, then put on your seamless socks and come join our little flock. Bitches stimming together, we're weirds of a feather, weirds of a feather.
I have a warm-up question.
Oh, you have a warm-up question?
It may lead to a lot of conversation.
That's the whole point.
Okay. All right. Well, before we get into the warm-up question, first, I'm going to introduce the podcast and say, welcome to Weirds of a Feather, an ADHD-Adjacent podcast. I'm your host, Grace.
And I'm your host, Kristin.
And we are back with Priscilla. Priscilla, say hi to the audience.
Hello. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, we are so happy to have you back on the show so soon, right after your first one.
I know. 10 minutes? It feels like 10 minutes.
Yeah. You may remember Priscilla from her previous episode that was just released last week.
Yep. And if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it first.
Get some tissues because you're going to feel super motivated and inspired and maybe a little tearful.
Yeah, you're going to get out there and pound that sand after Priscilla's episode.
The ultimate sand pounder.
Yes,
it's Priscilla.
All right. I have a little warm-up question.
I'm ready.
And Priscilla, I'm going to direct it to you first and then bounce over to you, Kristin.
Okay.
Is there anything that you don't have a strong opinion on? I know it's a really tricky one.
Ooh.
Actually, there is.
Yeah?
I couldn't care less which way the toilet paper faces. Whether it's
oh my
over
God.
or under.
See, I care
It's
so
monster.
much.
It goes over.
It goes over.
So typically,
it rolls better.
If I put it on, it does go over. But if it's under, I used to be the kind of person who would change it so that it was going over. But now I'm just like, it's whatever. I don't care.
If I see in other
Life
people's
is short.
houses, if it's under, I change it.
You do?
I can't help it.
Wow. See, I won't change. I'll be bothered by it, but I won't change it at other people's homes. If Ian puts it on backwards, I'm like, wrong.
I
No.
used to change it at other people's homes, but then I just stopped caring. And I'm just like, I don't care.
Life sounds easier not caring about that.
I wish I cared less about something like that.
I know. Wow. You really had a quick answer for that. I'm very impressed.
It's something I think about like more often than I should.
Like, I don't care about that anymore. And I used to. It's funny.
Now I'm struggling. That's such a good answer.
That was such a good answer. I know. I'm not sure if I know there's things out there that I don't have a strong opinion
And now
on.
I'm on the spot.
I know. I'm so glad you had something
Like
right away.
Right
Priscilla.
away. Yeah. Oh, Coke or Pepsi? I don't give a shit.
Really?
Yeah.
interesting.
I feel like they taste the same. I know the Coke people are gonna go
You're
crazy.
so wrong. You're so wrong.
And I think it's because I don't really like soda in general.
Oh.
But I'll drink like a ginger ale. I'll drink a gin and tonic. I'll drink several.
That's not
like,
soda.
Drinking soda to drink soda rarely. I gotta be in the mood.
You won't drink like a Diet Pepsi when you get a burger. That's kind of the only time I drink Diet Pepsi.
Should I?
Yeah, you should try it.
I guess. But like if it's a Diet Pepsi versus a Diet Coke,
huge difference.
I could care less.
Do you know where it's at though? The
Where?
Mexican Coca-Colas.
Ooh, yes, I do love those.
Those are
Yes.
superior to Coke or Pepsi, but I agree. I don't really care if it's Coke or Pepsi. They kind of do taste the same, except for Mexican Coke.
Both of you.
Not
I
the
feel
drug.
like we're gonna have to have like a taste test now and like line them up: Coke, Pepsi, Mexican
that
Coke.
was a thing with Coke and Pepsi, and they determined that Pepsi was better in a small amount because it's sweeter, but Coke is a better long-term sipping beverage, I guess.
So I guess you have to. Do you want just a shot of Pepsi?
Yeah,
Or do you want a whole can?
Are you going long term?
I think we need to. I think
I'm trying to get you to have
Poll.
an opinion about.
poll.
We could do. Oh yeah, that's a good
What
poll
was our
question.
Oh, we haven't come up with a poll questions sound effect yet, have we?
Poll question.
Poll
Yeah,
question.
we're still working on it.
We'll get there. All right.
PQ.
Yeah, PQ. We'll have to come up with sound. Yes, we'll have to do a poll question. You're right, Priscilla. And I asked the question, but I don't have an answer. But I'll have to think about it.
Okay.
I'll get back to you. But wow, that was a good warm up question.
That was a good warm up question.
I'll just cut out your super long pause, Kristin.
Well, it will be like I thought of it on immediately.
Yeah, just like Priscilla. Wow, you
Just-
both had back to back really quick answers. Look at you two.
Got a wicked shop mind.
Wicked chap. All right, now that we are warm, do we feel warm?
I feel warm. I feel warm.
You look warm.
Thanks.
Yes, Priscilla.
I have to pause really quick. I think my dog is throwing up.
Oh no,
That's okay.
Give me 1 second. Sorry about that.
What's the prognosis?
She threw up some grass.
Oh, okay. Well,
Just leave
She'll
it.
be
Just-
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Should probably eat it again if you're lucky.
Ugh. All right, we were just discussing how to do the "This Is Who I Am Now" song because sometimes we play Enya's song, but I think when we have a guest, I think we should do the songs live because they're silly.
We should have done cue the music when she went to go get her dog thing.
Oh well, I'll just throw
Just
the
put
music in there. Yeah, I'll
just
put
a
the-
reminder for you to put the holding music in. Okay.
I'll remember. Where was I? Oh, do you know our "This Is Who I Am Now" song? How we do it like in a round?
You have to remind me because
All
it's
right,
been a while since you guys have been using Enya's.
You're right. I have to remind Kristin every time
Yeah.
we sing it. So
don't worry.
yeah.
This
This
time
time
it's
it's
different.
different.
Everything has
Everything
changed. This is who I am now.
This is who I am now.
This is who I am now.
Yay!
Great.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Thanks for playing along with our bullshit.
Oh man, that's great.
All right, let's start with Priscilla because I want to hear Priscilla. Who are you now?
Who am I now? So, before, maybe about 3 weeks ago, I would probably wake up about 20 minutes before I had to go to work. And I would
Nice.
rush
That's
to
fair.
do everything I needed to do.
Yep.
But now I wake up at 5 in the morning every day.
Wow.
And
Dang.
it was definitely a process. I had to like slowly start setting my alarm back in 15-minute increments.
Mm.
And now I wake up at 5. I get dishes done. I eat
Dang.
breakfast. I know. It's
Wow.
great.
You're doing the 5 to 9 before your 9 to 5.
Exactly. So I'm up
man.
at 5.
The
and then
dream.
It's actually been great. Like it's definitely hard to set that routine, but
Mm.
the thing that helps is like I'll jump in the shower as soon as my alarm goes off and that'll wake me up even more. But I feel definitely way more productive and let's hope I stick with it.
Yay. All right.
Yeah.
So what time do you go to bed?
Anywhere between, it depends. Sometimes I'll like fall asleep at like 10 p.m. But then
Mm.
there's definitely those days that I'm up till like 1 in the morning.
What? And then
Yeah.
you're still waking up at 5?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I cannot see. I've been getting up earlier. I wake up at 6 now and I'm doing okay with keeping that. And I'm the same way as you. It feels really good when you get into that routine of like, yeah, I just feel so productive when I can get stuff done before like Ian even wakes up or whatever. You know, it just feels very productive. But I go to bed at like 9 o'clock.
I gotta go.
I wish I could go to bed that early.
I wish I could function on less sleep like you and Kristin are able to
Well,
do.
I wouldn't call
I-
myself functioning.
Exactly. I was about to say, I don't know if I'm functioning most of those days, but I know that if once I like stop doing that, it's game over.
See, I'm the type where if I go to bed at 1 a.m., I'm calling out of work the next day 100%. 100% of the time I'm calling out of work.
It totally depends because like someday I try. We've already talked about my bedtime.
Yes.
I've tried.
Yes.
I'm trying harder.
You're trying.
But sometimes I try really hard and I still fail. Or sometimes there's like other circumstances. Like the other day I was operating till 10:30 and that was super fun.
Yeah, having an inconsistent schedule probably makes that much harder.
Right.
Yeah.
And not only me, but Christopher never knows. He's like, I want to get dinner ready, but I don't know when you're going to be home. So I'm just not. And I'm like, okay, just pretend that I have a regular schedule. And then there's a microwave and I can microwave things. But we're still learning.
All right. Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
Grace.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Who are you now?
All right. I mentioned it a little bit on the last episode about picking a paint color for my living room. But in general, I just feel like now all of a sudden I'm a bold paint person. And whenever I ask people for their opinions on like what color I should paint the living room or what color I should paint any room in my house, really, because I really want to go with bold colors. But people always scare me because they're like, well, I would just make it white and then put things on the wall. And I'm like,
what is this, an art gallery? I don't think so.
That sounds nice, but that's not me. I feel like I need the paint to do some of the work for me. And I just feel like I'm kind of a bold, eclectic, kind of tossed together person.
I would say for sure.
Yeah. Would you use that word?
Eclectic is your
irreverent,
your whole style.
Yes, eclectic. Yeah. I'm bad at putting things together, so I feel like a farmhouse style is not really for me.
No.
And, people just have me nervous of everyone telling me they would paint it beige or white or
taupe,
cream or, taupe.
Shades of taupe.
I finally went with the bold color, and now I'm like, all right, this is amazing. I was right, and I'm glad I trusted my instincts, and now I just want to go like crazy with the house and just have like a bunch of bold colors.
Yeah.
Because that's me.
Because it's your house.
Yeah. And it's not going to flow together nicely because I don't flow together nicely.
It's going to flow how it flows.
Yes. It'll flow like a jagged river, but it'll get there.
Yeah.
Even jagged rivers flow to the end.
There you go.
As the ancient proverb goes.
Yeah.
All right, Kristin, who are you now?
I'm a noodle person. I mean, I always have been a noodle person, but how about I'm especially so now, right now, a noodle person.
We're talking food noodles?
We're talking food noodles.
Pool noodles.
I mean, yes to both.
Yeah.
I think I've always been a pool noodle /
noodles in any form.
Noodles in any form, but especially food noodles. I don't know I've been working a lot, so maybe it's like a safe food for me.
Definitely a safe food.
Yeah. But all I want currently is just noodles on noodles.
Do you go butter or sauce?
We do butter garlic nudes. It is our staple in our household. Ramen nudes. The other day I made I had the rice noodles, and then I chopped up some red cabbage and green cabbage, and I marinated some tofu, and I made like a cabbagey tofu noodle soup. It wasn't as great as
delicious.
I thought it was.
Fancy noodles.
I think I needed more spices because the tofu was good, the cabbage was good, the noodles are good, but the broth was like, nah.
Well, I don't have anything to say about that.
But I just noodles in any form. The other day I got there's a restaurant called Boba, not to be confused with Boda, because they're two different restaurants, and I've made that mistake before. They have these things called Bang Bang Nudes. That's literally the name, and they're so good. They're spicy and they're yummy. And so I had Bang Bang Nudes the other night, and I've just been,
nooding it up. Yep.
Nudes.
Priscilla, did you have something to add to the noodle conversation?
I do. So as long as you get like some sort of pho, like broth, like the pho soup.
Yeah.
If you added that to your tofu cabbage soup, you don't really need any seasonings. Just get like that. They have like that concentrated broth. Yeah. A little bit of that.
So I got
all the flavors you want.
Yeah. Miso paste and better than bouillon stuff. And I was thinking of doing that because I don't know what's going on with the Shaz of recent, but they don't have any like ramen broth or pho broth. I gotta figure it out. Maybe go to a different grocery store, but
Shaz
their selection is getting weak. No, you know what? My Shaz has a great produce selection, and that's why we go. But everything else is like, eh.
All right.
I have a question for you then, Kristin. Best kind of noodles.
Ooh.
Pasta / noodle. What's your favorite shape type? Because each shape type does taste different, in my opinion.
It totally does.
Yep.
It totally does.
This is something I have a strong opinion about.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it depends on the mood. If I want like something spicy, I love ramen noodles. I love the texture of ramen noodles. There's nothing better in my mind than ramen noodles because it's so easy to make and always tastes good. You can't go wrong. For like pasta noodles, I love the ones that are in like a curly-Q.
Or like a spiral?
Yes,
A
but not like a
rotini?
spiral, but they're like imagine a ziti, but a ringlet.
The cavatappi.
Yes.
Is
You're
it
right.
It's like a
Right.
tube,
Yeah,
but it's
tube.
in
And
a,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
one.
Look at you, Priscilla.
I
busting
know,
out
man.
That one's my
cavatappi.
favorite type. Well, that one's my favorite type too. So
Okay,
I
I
knew
like
the
that
answer
one.
to that one.
That makes sense.
Okay, I also like the wheels.
Ooh, I haven't
Wheels
had
are really
in a long
good.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like a shape in my pasta.
Yeah, I mean, spaghetti has its purpose, but
It has its time and place.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you
What's your
can't eat-
opinion on angel hair though?
No. Hate
Okay,
it.
good.
I'm
makes
not
me,
a
like,
huge
gag.
fan, and I also have like some trauma. My dad actually doing the dishes because the angel hair is so thin.
Mm.
He went to scrub the pan, and he got the angel hair, like
Ah.
the old like crusty like burnt pasta stuck in between his finger and fingernail, and he had to go to the emergency room, and they had to chop like half. Yeah, they had to go.
Stupid injury.
It was like on a Tuesday night, and he's like, Jesus. And he's like, it's fine. But he couldn't get it out. And like, that harbors a lot of bacteria because it's like pasta. It's just full of carbs, what bacteria love. And he was just like, this is hurting like nobody's business. I was like, yeah, because you have a piece of pasta stuck underneath your finger. So yeah, he had to go to the emergency room.
An angel hair trauma.
Angel hair trauma. So now I'm like worried. My mom's like, we're never buying angel hair again. Never. It's cursed. And I was like, I don't think it's the pasta's fault. I think it's a user error, if anything.
Yes.
But so to this day, it's like one of my rules. We don't do the angel hair.
No, not in this household.
Not in this household.
Can't afford the hospital bill.
Yeah. Do you know how expensive the emergency room is?
All right, wow, that really opened up a lot of conversation about angel hair. I had no idea you had that trauma.
Yeah, it's not even
Family
It's
trauma.
family curse.
A family history
Yeah.
with angel hair. Oh, all right.
Oh man.
Should we worm our way into I'm So Quirky?
Yes. Oh wait. Oh shoot.
Oh, kazoo.
I have a kazoo. Well,
So normally when we're in studio, we give guests
the
the
option
of kazooing.
kazoo or kasing.
Sing. Yeah. So Priscilla, I guess you're stuck singing with me unless you happen to have a kazoo in your home.
I unfortunately do not have a kazoo in my home.
Your husband's a musician, right?
He is, but he has
He
those
doesn't
little,
zoo.
No, he has those
I'm gonna
little
send
egg
him
shakers,
Oh.
but no kazoo.
Oh.
I'm gonna send him one. We have to.
Yeah,
That's
he
got to
needs
be in
one.
your.
You call yourself a musician
Yeah.
and you don't zoo?
And you don't zoo.
I'll be sure to tell him that.
Okay.
Yeah, let him know.
Tell him I'm disappointed.
All right. Some people call me Stacy.
Some people call me fun, but I'm just quirky.
That's great. Yay.
I'm so excited to hear how this turns out with the lag and if it'll like catch them up or if they're all going to sound a little bit lagged.
off.
Yeah.
I
kind of hope they do.
Yeah.
I kind of think
It's
think
gonna
the
be
lag
great.
is funny. Yeah.
It just has your own little flair to it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's our special touch.
That's our quirk.
Yeah. And speaking of that's our quirk, Priscilla, this is nice that you will share your quirks and we don't have to this time.
Yeah.
So will you share your 3 quirks with us?
Absolutely. All right. So first one is when it comes to mealtime, I'm definitely a weirdo with like my eating routine and just like everything I do. So I think the first one is that I need to have multiple drinks at dinner time. I
Yep,
usually
always.
have 2 to 3 drinks
Yep,
because
That's fair.
it's just like I need options on what I feel like drinking at that moment. And probably about halfway through my meal, I need to make a conscious decision on what my last bite will be because that could make or
Really?
break the meal. Absolutely. Like,
Oh,
say
that
you're
totally makes
eat-
sense in my mind, though.
Yeah.
like I'm eating mashed potatoes and maybe just like a couple other side dishes. I need to figure out what I want to end the meal on to make sure it's 100% satisfying.
Yeah, now that you mention that, I also do that.
Do
And I
you?
hadn't really thought about that.
I don't do that. I eat, like, if it's like, protein, potatoes, vegetables, I'll have to eat. Usually I eat like all of the potatoes first and then the vegetable.
What?
And then
You
I don't.
do?
See, I like to save potatoes for the end.
Ooh.
Well,
Yeah, potatoes at the end.
it's not always potatoes. It's just like I eat one and then the other and then the other.
Oh, I like to mix and match.
I don't
to
like
go
to-
from pile to pile
No.
kind of in a circle.
Exactly.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No.
You do that too, Priscilla?
I do. And then I just I need to figure out what my last bite is going to be.
Yep.
I eat like, here's my vegetables. I eat the vegetables. And then here's my meat. I eat the meat. And
That's
then here's
wild. I like to have kind of the flavors going together.
Right. And then when I get to a restaurant, and you know how sometimes they do a fancy thing where it's like potatoes and then like, I don't know, asparagus spears stacked on top of the potatoes and then the meat stacked on. And I'm like, well, I guess they've made the decision for me.
The order?
The order is steak first.
Wow. That's crazy to me. What about when you have a meal, let's say like pasta with like broccoli and chicken in it for both of you? Do you make sure you're getting like the exact right ratio of noodle to broccoli to chicken in each bite?
No, because I eat all of my broccoli first and then
That's
all of my chicken
wild.
first.
So it's not even
And,
like, so you're like eating a deconstructed meal at every single meal?
Yeah, I don't like, if I could get the little, the
Kristin.
kids plates with the
Yeah,
little
that's what I was thinking.
dividers.
Yeah.
That's what I would have.
You should have those.
I
You
should
can have those.
Well, no, we have big boy
boy
plates.
plates.
Yeah.
But if you don't like to eat your food together, I feel like you should get the dividers.
Why would you eat your food together? It's
because then you're getting the flavor, like the combination of the flavors. Like with
occasionally
pasta,
at like Thanksgiving, I'll jump because there's so many things.
Yeah.
It's never like I guess I'm not consistent with it, but on more times than not.
But like a pasta broccoli chicken meal, the meal is all of those things together.
I see it as
Priscilla?
it's pasta and then it's broccoli and then it's chicken, or it's chicken and then pasta and then broccoli, whatever I decide.
My world is rocked right now.
Or, well, sometimes what I'll do, if like, especially with like a protein, like a meat, like a chicken, there's a lot of chicken. So what I'll do is I'll eat like the broccoli and then half the chicken and then I'll go to potatoes and then the rest of the chicken.
I like to mix them all up.
This is crazy to me. Why would you? There's 3 separate flavors.
And the
But they
combination
marry well
makes
together.
a fourth flavor. The combination is its own flavor. Like if I wanted to just have flavor of broccoli.
So on the same fork, you're doing.
This is course number 1.
You know what? It doesn't matter. We're gonna get to the bottom. So on the same fork,
Yes.
you
I
put
want 2
potatoes.
noodles.
Yeah.
2 noodles usually, especially if they're like ziti. I'm picturing ziti. 2 noodles, 1 medium-sized piece of broccoli, and 1 like little piece of chicken.
No,
That's my
because they're
perfect
different
ratio.
textures.
Yeah, and all.
Why would
3
you marry
textures-
those textures? Like
Well, that's why
noodles
you
with
make-
chicken? No,
Yeah.
thank you. I'll eat the chicken and then I'll eat the noodles.
The
They're different
textures
textures.
don't bother me on that one. We have to move on.
We have okay.
We have to take a poll on
Yeah.
this because Priscilla and I are on the same page, and you are just
I just
throwing some real curveballs at me right now. I'm like having trouble processing this.
I don't. I guess I haven't like thought about it before, but I would never like. I know some people do this, like especially at Thanksgiving. They put like a scoop. They scoop up their mashed potatoes
Yeah.
and then they have their turkey.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I always, especially with like a Thanksgiving meal, I'm always trying to get the perfect ratio.
On one forkful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Right?
No.
Exactly. No, yeah.
I'll eat one and then the other.
You're missing out on the whole experience of the meal.
I guess. Well,
You're
Thanksgiving is coming up, so
You're
I guess
eating
I'll.
items.
I'm
You're
eating
items.
I
Priscilla-
like items.
Priscilla and I are having a meal,
Well,
and you're
bef-
having items.
Before we move on, I have to ask you this, Kristin. For like a chicken pot pie or like a shepherd's pie,
Okay,
those flavors
that's-
are already mixed together. So you can't
Yes,
eat
but
each-
it's different because so with the chicken pot pie, if it's the right kind, which is my mom's kind,
Yes.
all the texture is kind of this like congealed. It's the same, you know.
Mm.
Same with the shepherd's pie. I guess it's a little different, but I have an issue with ice cream. I think we've already talked about this. Like the
Yes.
pistachio, I love pistachio ice cream, but I don't want the actual pistachios in it because they're so hard and crunchy compared to the soft creamy ice cream.
Okay, so here's what
It's
I
a
think.
texture thing.
Here's what I think is happening. It's not just a texture thing. It's different forms of like having the food in your mouth and what you do with it in your mouth. Because like with pistachio ice cream, you're either like licking and like suckling at it.
Yeah.
Or
and then you
you're
suddenly have to
chewing.
chew.
Yeah.
And I don't want
And it's
to
a different
chew.
activity.
It's like chewing milk.
But with
you know?
chicken pot pie, even though they're different like textures, they're all within this one thing, and you eat that one thing the same.
It's already
each bite.
together.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're like very much
All
the
right.
same. They're kind of a same. They're all kind of congealed together. Yeah. Congealed. They're
You're
like
making it sound bad.
usually a similar
all right.
texture
like a
as
soup
one.
Almost.
But I guess it's not just textures. It's just like the chicken pot pie. That's the thing. There's no other like. So if you have chicken pot pie, folks, this is all we're talking about today. We'll have it. We'll do hobby collectors another day. Okay.
This is our hobby collectors.
Okay. So if you had a chicken pot pie and then broccoli on the side, would you like put pie and broccoli
Yes.
on the same?
Probably.
Oh my god!
But
Put
I
the
think I
broccoli
get
in
it.
the pie.
I think I get it because the amount of time it takes to chew these foods are different.
It's different.
You're right.
So I get it, but I
chew to swallow ratios.
exactly. And so I think that's where you're coming from, and I get it, but I still mix them all up.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not.
You don't need to defend yourself.
I'm
It's
not.
okay.
No. I will defend myself.
I know.
I'm willing to die on this hill. I'm not saying your way is wrong. I just am saying I would never do that. I know it is done, but it is not something that I do.
I don't know how we're just realizing this now that we have such different eating styles.
I think because I eat so quickly.
Yeah, you slam. Literally, I'll look up after my first bite, and you are just like done.
Well, because I have a system, and I go 1, 2, 3. You know, one.
So
course,
is it
2,
about efficiency as much as it's about texture?
I feel like some people just really love food for food.
Yes.
I
don't.
I like food. I love eating food, but I guess maybe it's like
Meals are annoying.
yeah, they're kind
Just
of
an
more of a hassle.
inconvenience. Yep.
I like
agree.
going out to dinner where the food is already done, and then you have the experience of like going out to dinner and you get to choose, and you're there with people and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm not a dinner. Food for me is more of like sustenance and like, if I'm seeking dopamine in a food form, usually sugar.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's a sustenance / dopamine.
All right, and Priscilla, quirk number 2.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's funny you say that because this is actually my second one is that
Uh-oh.
when I go food shopping, I don't like eating out. So I usually make food at home. And when I go grocery shopping, I need to have a list like of everything I'm going to get. And on that list is also everything I'm going to make that week. Because I've tried to just wing it and go to the grocery store and buy just like random vegetables and just like a couple blocks of tofu and this and that. And then I get home and I'm like, what the fuck am I going to make right now?
Right.
Yep.
And it's just like, I can't compute. I can't function. I start getting super stressed out. So people think it's crazy when like I have these intricate lists on Google Sheets where everything is color coded, what ingredient goes with what food.
Oh man.
And I have to stick to that list for the entire week because if I use an ingredient from another thing for something else, then that dish is completely ruined and I have to think of something else. So it's just one of those things where like I need to have these lists or else
I need the sheet.
or else we're not
these
eating.
Google Sheets.
Yeah, that's a great system.
That's a
though.
great system.
I wish I had the ability to plan that deeply.
We were trying for a very long time, Christopher and I. We were doing like this meal prep thing, and then we realized we were cooking in the week so much, and it's not very feasible with my schedule. We're trying something different, but
I feel like I can either like make the plan or I can like do the cooking and like get the food, but I can't do both. I burn myself out on like making such an intricate plan like that. But I guess once you have it after a while, like I'm sure now you just have like a few different spreadsheets.
Yeah,
for, like,
you're in a
different meals.
routine now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have my list of like things I want to make, things I like. So I know like I can just change out a couple. I have a couple of things I make every single week. And so I know those will always be there. But I've tried to do it without that list and it's so hard for me.
Yeah, we really need that structure as much as we fight it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right.
All
Quirk number 3.
Quirk number 3 is that I struggle to make left-hand turns when I'm driving. If I'm like have to cross over a second lane, like so if there isn't a traffic light, I can't do it. Like I have to just make a bunch of rights until I get to where I need to go.
Really?
You're not an ambi-turner?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just, it gives me so much anxiety because I'm focusing on everything going on. I'll see cars coming in the other direction and then I'm like, all right, I got to wait till those cars are done and then they'll be done. And then I'll look to my right and start freaking out and be like, I can't make the left yet. And so I end up just staying at a stoplight or a stop sign. Or if there is no stop sign, I'm just like, I can't make this left. So I've just adapted to it and I just make a whole bunch of rights now.
Wow.
Wow.
You're literally an ambi-turner. You can't turn left. You are
She's
Jared
not an
Zoolander.
ambi-turner.
Right? Yeah, she's not an ambi-turner.
She's not an ambi-turner.
Yes. Are you?
Yeah.
Have you seen Zoolander? Do you get my reference?
I haven't seen Zoolander in so long.
Oh, no.
man.
Okay, that's all right.
That's such a specific thing. And it's so funny that you literally can't turn left.
It's funny because my husband, we just finished watching the newest season of Stranger Things, and the helicopter's name is Batinka. And he just kept like laughing about it every time they said that name. And I was like,
That's right.
I don't
Batinka.
remember. It's been so long. I'll have to watch it again.
I have such a specific movie memory. So,
Is Patinka from Zoolander?
yes,
Okay.
she has like a crazy long last name. Anyways,
Oh,
you are so quirky, Priscilla.
You are
those
so quirky.
Those
Yeah.
are some great quirks. Those are all great quirks. You nailed that segment.
Thanks.
All right.
we got to get into hobby collectors.
Yes. Yeah.
I am also a reckless driver. I don't think
Yes,
you're reckless.
You are.
I think
God.
I just get distracted
You're
by
scary.
everything. Yeah.
Yes.
Christopher hates it.
Yes. I don't think I've told the story on the podcast yet. The time that Haley, Kristin, and I were driving home from the mall, and I was sitting in the back seat, and Haley was sitting in the passenger side, and we were both kind of afraid of Kristin's driving. And I started to ask Kristin a question, and Haley turns around and she goes, "Shh, let her focus."
I just have such a hard time. I do better when I'm alone by myself, but the second someone gets in the car,
You're so easily distracted.
you
can't multitask.
I can't.
Yes.
I was
You
gonna
try all the time.
I
You
say it on
really-
every interview. I'm a great multitasker.
You literally are not.
I also say that I'm a quick learner. Lied every
That's
time.
not true either.
Yeah, you know what? I have a job.
You do have a job.
I think they quickly learned that I was not a quick learner.
Yes. It's all right.
Oh, she just lied to us.
You're a thorough learner.
I'm a thorough. That's fair. That's
Yeah.
what I'll say in my next interview.
Yeah, thorough learner.
Once I get fired from this, they're
Yeah.
like, we can't take it anymore.
All right, hobby collectors, what's our deal?
You want to do Jane's song, or do you want to sing the song?
God, I fucking hate that.
I hate the song so much.
So much. Yeah, should we just throw Jane's song in there?
Let's
for
do Jane's
time
song.
as well? Yes, and yeah, I hope you're not offended. It's not that we don't also love your song. It's that Hobby Collectors is the one song that we're like, we actually do not like singing this one. It's always embarrassing. It doesn't go well. So for our sake, it's much easier to play Jane's song. But we love both of your songs equally, and I just want to put that out there. All right. Anyways, cue the music.
Cue the music.
We are the collectors, these are our hobbies. We are the collectors, and these are our hobbies. We are the collectors, and these are our hobbies. We are the collectors, hobby collectors.
All right.
right.
And welcome back from that song that we all love so much. So, Priscilla, I don't even know what you have
It's
for
a surprise hobby.
Okay. Are you doing one, or are you going to kind of talk about just like a smattering?
I think I only have one today for you guys.
Okay. All right. Let it rip.
All right. So back in July of 2022,
Ooh, new
I
hobby.
went- it is new and I'm still sticking with it.
Nice.
Nice.
I became a plant mom.
Yay! I'm so excited.
And the way I got into that is that we met up with one of my husband's friends and he took us to this really cute little like tea shop. We got some tea and then we went to a plant store that was down the block, and it wasn't
Love
just like it wasn't a nursery. It's just like this really nice fancy boutique plant store.
I love those stores.
They're so great. Everyone
Do they
working
have crystals too? They probably have crystals.
I'm pretty sure they do. They have like
Yes.
homemade cat toys and just all this
nice.
really awesome stuff. And it's basically something you would find on in like Brooklyn and one of those like hipster areas.
Yeah.
And
sure.
so I bought my first plant after talking to the guy there.
What kind of plant?
It was a Monstera andosi.
Ooh.
I want to say it's the Swiss cheese plant is.
Yeah.
I'm horrible with the pronunciation of like the
Just a
scientific names.
A monstera.
Yeah. And so I bought it, and the person who worked there really encouraged me to buy it because I was always like, oh, I have a black thumb. I can't keep anything alive. And he was just like, no, that's not true. You kind of just really have to listen to what your plant is telling you, really learn about them. And so after that one survived for a couple of weeks, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready for some more. And now I am up to like 22 plants, I think.
Nice.
Nice.
Yes.
And they all have names. So like I'll
Ooh.
research each plant that I got and kind of learn a little bit about its history, its nicknames, things like that. And then I'll give it a funny name that goes along with it. So like one of the plants I got, it's called the peacock plant. And I named it Leslie after Leslie Knope.
I love that.
And they all have, the first plant that I got, it's the Monstera. I named him Freddy after Freddy Krueger.
Nice.
So it's just like, and so I've been doing that since July now. And every time I go out to either Home Depot or any plant store, nursery, I always end up coming home with at least one plant.
Same.
Yep, same now that Ian is getting into
Oh yeah,
plants as
Ian
well.
has become a little plant dad.
Yeah, my husband Ian is really into
And a
plants.
bonsai boy.
Yeah, he's
Love
a
it.
bonsai boy. Yeah,
I'm so excited. I have a friend now.
a bonsai friend.
A bonsai friend.
Yeah, it's just plant talk all around.
Have you, Priscilla, have you dabbled in bonsai yet?
Not
Bonsai.
yet. I'm
Bonsai?
scared to. It just seems very daunting and requires a lot of attention.
For sure.
So I love it. And like I watched this whole YouTube video about bonsai plants and was super fascinated that it's all just about the maintenance of it, that they're not
Maintenance
tiny.
and proportions.
Exactly. They don't grow that small. It's just how you like take care of them,
Yeah.
pruning them and all of that. And it seems so cool to do. I just don't have the time right now.
That's fair. You like we said on our last episode, you've got a lot of things going on right now.
Yeah,
In
geez.
school and business and work and everything that you're doing. But yeah, have you been doing like a lot of like from the philodendron category, like a lot of viney stuff, or just kind of a little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything. I have a couple of those. I can't pronounce any of those names. I have a few pothos that I've been
Yeah.
collecting. Some of the alocasias, like the elephant plants.
Yeah. I've killed everyone I have, so I just stopped.
I repotted one of mine a couple of weeks ago, and then slowly all the leaves started dying off. So I went to
so hard to.
They really
maintain.
are. I went back to the nursery, and I was really pissed at that plant. His name was Elliot, and so I
Fuck
replaced
you,
him.
Elliot.
Fuck you, Elliot.
I replaced him with an even bigger one. So I'm like,
Oh,
"You're dead
Now you
to
get
me
a
now,
better-
Elliot."
have you dabbled into grow lights yet?
That is actually on the materials you will need list for me.
Oh,
So if you
okay.
want, I can start talking about that.
Yeah.
And so the materials you'll need, obviously the first one is plants.
Yes.
You can't have
Okay.
plants or be a plant mom without those plants.
That's
Can't
fair.
have plants
Um,
without plants.
Exactly. You need the soil appropriate for each plant. So I have some succulents. I have a string of pearls
Oh,
and a couple of other succulents, and they require different soil than your typical house plant.
yep.
So you'll need to make sure you have the right soil. Pots for repotting when necessary.
Sure.
those-
Sure.
Obviously something that you can just order on Amazon or just run to Home Depot. They're generally pretty cheap.
Goodwill
Eh,
has a lot of pots too. Like
you know-
especially in the spring, for some reason they just have like all these like random pots. So that's where I get a lot of my stuff.
I did not think about that until you
Yeah.
just said it. I will have to do that. And so the grow lights too. A couple of my plants are in a window or in an area where they don't get a lot of direct sunlight, and they were not doing so well. So eventually I did end up buying a bookshelf, and still not installed yet, but I did buy these grow lights that I can basically just zip tie to the bottom or the tops of
Nice.
the shelves, and then
Nice.
they'll have that. And right now I just have them in those like metal dish looking lamps that you can buy at any hardware store.
I know. I have one of those too.
They're
I'll take a
garage,
picture
I
of
think
it
they're
for the
garage lights, I
listeners.
guess.
Yeah. I'll take a
you-
picture of it for the listeners. It's like it looks like
It almost looks like a
metal
satellite dish.
bowl,
Mm.
and it has a clamp on it.
Yes,
That's
I
what
think
my
they're
grow
called
light's
clamp
in.
lights.
Yeah. That's where my grow light's in the clamp light.
Yeah, and then obviously you need water. I do live out in Arizona right now, originally from the East Coast. But once I moved out here, I didn't realize how hard the water is.
Yeah.
And so I have to use water either that I like distilled water or have a Brita filter if you need it, or even just like water from the fridge. So that's something you have to be aware of.
Mhm.
And then the big one that I wasn't prepared for was neem oil. And
Yes.
I did not have it. And I remember saying to myself, like a couple days before this happened, is like, oh, I'm so lucky. I haven't had any pests on any of my plants. Like
Famous
2
last
or 3
words.
days later, I look at one of them and there were spider mites all
Spider
over
mites
it.
are such a bitch. I hate them
Yeah, they
so
suck.
much.
Oh my God.
It
And
just,
at first I looked at him and I saw like a little web and I just wiped it and I'm like, oh, this is nothing. I don't have to worry about it. And I think I was just being like, I was in denial for sure.
Yep.
Oh, for
And
sure.
then I kept looking at them and I'm like, yeah, there's little white things moving on my plants. And right away I dropped everything I was doing. I live right across the street from a Home Depot. So I just went straight in there and I just got neem oil. And luckily I caught it on so early that within 2 to 3 weeks, they're all back together, my plants.
How
but-
often do you neem your infected plants?
I was neeming them every 7 days. And I bought the spray that you don't have to dilute or anything. So I would spray my plants, let it sit for a few minutes, and then I would just kind of take some water in a watering can and just kind of get rid of the excess on there so it doesn't burn them.
Yeah.
But the thing, if you neem a plant, is that you can't expose it to direct sunlight for at least 24 hours or else the leaves will
maybe
burn.
that's what I'm doing.
Oh,
Kristin.
that's a good note.
That's
So
a good note. I wish I had a pen. Everybody get a pen.
It'll be recorded on
Write
the
this
episode.
down. Listeners.
and then
Karen.
quarantining them also is super important if you have an
Yes.
infestation.
Yes.
Nice. You're a responsible plant mom. You were just
are
like on
responsible,
that.
man.
Not really. I'll
Well,
forget to
it's-
water them.
I let mine, when they get spider mites, I'm like, oh, I guess this is it. Like, I kind of neem them and then I like try to do a rehab. But once I've never had good luck with spider mites, but maybe I'm not as diligent enough.
Yeah, you don't have enough diligence.
Diligence. Got to get it.
I almost gave up on my plants after I saw the spider mites. I'm like, I'm done with plants. What's the next
Right.
thing? But I've spent so much time and so much money
Right.
into this hobby at this
and
point.
they're
I'm
living
just like,
things too.
they
I always feel
are.
bad. And I'm like, don't give up on me now.
they are for
But
sure.
then they do.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've
Well-
covered what you need.
Yes.
Do you think this is a good hobby for ADHDers?
I definitely do. When I first got my first couple plants, I discovered, or my husband did, he actually showed me, there's an app called Planta. And
I think I've heard of this.
it's incredible. And I even went and got the paid version of it. It's a once a year payment, and you put in all of your plants and where they're located. And like you'll put in some basic information, how far they are from the window. Do you have grow lights? And it'll kind of just create the schedule for you of when you need to water your plants, when you need to fertilize them, when it's time to repot them, if certain plants need to get pruned, when it's time to prune them. And that's been a huge help for me because I can easily forget about all of my plants, but then I'll get this reminder on my phone that, hey, you should check on these plants. And even if they don't need to be watered at that time, I'll still have that reminder to check. And I think it's also, for the most part, besides having some sort of pest infestation, I think they're pretty easy to take care of. And if you forget to water them for a couple of days, they'll usually be okay. It's pretty hard to kill a lot of plants. And
Depends on the plant.
exactly, yeah. There's certain ones that, like, I think it's the calathas that are
Oh, yeah.
notorious. Calathea, yes. They're notoriously difficult to take care of. But I seem to do pretty well with those. And it's just about, I don't know how mine are still alive. And it's all about just like researching each individual plant. And I think it's one of those things where I have become pretty hyper fixated on it. But I like it because it's also really taught me a lot about self-care. And
Yeah.
it made me realize that like when the leaves are wilting a little bit or turning yellow, that they're asking for something and that they give signs to tell you they need something, the same way that us as humans will start showing certain like signs that we need something. And it's really taught me also to take care of myself in like my day to day.
Oh,
That was a great message.
that
you
is a
learned from
great
the plant.
message.
Yeah, I was just thinking, because Ian uses, I'm not sure if he uses that same plant app, but Ian also uses a plant app because he's so ADHD where he would just like totally forget about them or just water them every single day, forgetting that he had watered them. And he'll like check his app. He'll be like, "Oh, it's time to water my plants."
Yeah.
And like, and he's done a great job with it. Like he really has kept all
he
all
has
his plants
dipped
alive.
hard into the plant
He's
community.
really into it. Yeah.
Like I feel like 2 weeks ago your house was plantless, and now all of a sudden it's full of plants.
Yes, very quickly. But if it weren't for that app, he would definitely not be doing as well as he is because he would just, totally forget. Do you use like any type of app like that for self-care? Because I feel like that would be a good idea. I just don't know if I
New
could
business
set
idea.
it up.
Someone
I'm
should
sure
start.
there's definitely apps
Have
like
you drank water today?
that. I'm sure, I know there's apps like that
Have
out
you
there.
peed
but,
today?
if
That's
you're going
what
to do
I
it for
need.
your plants,
I
feel
think
like,
they definitely need "Have you peed yet today" reminding app.
yeah.
Because I will forget to pee all day long.
I forget to pee all
Oh,
the
really?
Yeah, I do it all the time. And then I'm like, why do I feel sick to my stomach? Why do I feel awful? And then I'll pee and I'm like, oh, that's why.
See, I feel like I pee all day long. I like overcorrect, because I'm so I hate having to pee. It makes me so cranky.
I pee a lot on OR days because I pre-pee before every case.
Yeah.
I pre-pee and I make sure my med students pre-pee. And it's a weird conversation, but
You gotta pre-pee
Gotta
before you go
pre-pee.
into something like that.
and I make eye contact. I go, "Did you pre-pee?" And they know exactly what I mean. And if they haven't, I was like, "Go." And then I go before every case, even if it's a little one, because you never know.
You never know.
You never
just
know.
In case. Well, I feel like setting an app up like that for yourself would also be great if
Have
you
you
can set up that system.
Have you eaten?
Yeah.
Are your clothes itchy?
And then even things like that you have to do either like daily or weekly when it comes to self-care tasks.
Brush your teeth.
I've tried those, and
Yeah, I have too.
maybe like a week goes by and I'll use it, and then I'll slowly just press snooze or like dismiss the notifications and just never use them again.
Do you do the thing where you get an app and you set up notifications and then you get really fucking annoyed that the app is sending you notifications every day? And then you're like, I hate this goddamn app.
Oh, absolutely. I have like almost no notifications turned on my phone because I hate getting notifications.
Yep. And I know it'll just like turn me against this app that I downloaded and I wanted. But then the second I get a 9 a.m. notification, I'm like, fuck you. I'm deleting this goddamn app.
Well, the worst is when you pay the like 99 cents or $1.99 for the app and you're just like, this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
It's causing me more stress.
Yes. Yeah. I cannot seem to use an ADHD app for the life of me. I'm just bad at tracking my daily habits. I just like, it's all up here.
I have
kind of
an Apple Watch that I'm not wearing today, but the big thing is like it can tell a lot. It does a lot of things. I really like it, but it also like tracks your standing, your movement, and your exercise. You have like these rings that you need to accomplish. It's very visual. It's nice. But the standing, they always remind you to fucking stand, and it's the most like passive aggressive thing.
I feel like you don't need that because
time to stand. I know I don't need it, but if I had an office job, I definitely would.
Yeah.
But it's like time to stand, and I'm like,
yeah. See, I would hate that.
and then I would
Don't
finally
tell me to stand.
Yeah, exactly. And then I stand, and they're like, "You did it. You stood up," and I'm like, "Fuck you."
It's
but then
funny.
it's like, "Good job, you exercised for 20 minutes." I'm like, "Yeah, I did."
I actually just got an Apple Watch yesterday.
Do you do the rings?
I do, but I turned off the stand-up notification.
Oh, see, that's what I have to do because it's super fucking annoying. I'm always standing. If anything, I need to sit down. I want a sit-down notification. Why don't you take a seat?
Have a rest.
That would be good. If you have any tips or any of your listeners have like Apple Watch tips, I would love them because I'm just like, I've been playing around with this thing. I'm like, how can I utilize this to make my life easier? And then instead I just downloaded this app that is called like Llama Water, and it reminds you to drink water. And there's this cute little llama icon on it. I'm like, and as you drink water, it fills the llama up with water.
Oh, wait a minute.
That. What's it called?
I'm going to download.
Water?
I don't have my watch.
Cue the music. So it is called Water Llama.
Water
Water
llama.
llama.
Okay.
I'll put in the resources.
Okay, great.
That's a great app. That's a good little
That's
tip.
a good little, I love a good visual cue.
Yeah. Yes. All right. We'll have to do that as a poll question of poll question. We'll have to gather. We'll gather people's tips for Apple Watches.
Yeah.
I don't have one, but maybe I'll have to get one.
Yeah.
So I can fit in. All right, Priscilla, before we move on to alternative segments, do you have anything else that you wanted to mention about your plant status?
I would say don't be scared to get plants or to get into plant collecting as a hobby, because it can honestly be so rewarding and it's a lot of fun too. And you don't have to have a whole bunch either. You can have like 2 plants.
Yeah, it sounds like you did a good job of starting slow and
Yeah.
like working your way up, whereas Ian just got like 10 all at once.
Yeah.
I started slow. I had that one, and then between like right after I started getting them, I would go to the nursery and I would buy like 3-4 at a time.
Oh, yeah. I've
Yeah.
been there. Can I add something on plant care?
Please.
When you start out with plants, just be prepared to take a life, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to mess up. You're going to fuck up, and it sucks. But
So just figure out if you can live with that on your conscience or not.
I've killed many. I'm on my.
And you're fine with
I'm
it.
totally fine. I'm on my 3rd Jesus tree.
There's
And,
still a lot of guilt every time you kill one. It's
Yeah.
you can't help but feel like a horrible mom.
I hate looking at them while they're dying.
That's why Lily said, I told Lily about one of the plants that Ian had come home, because he would just come home willy-nilly with like these really complicated plants without looking it up first.
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
gotta look it up.
you
first.
gotta look it up, buddy.
Gotta
you
look it
can't
up.
just buy, like, the audacity of you to be like, I can care for
I
this.
got it.
I just got into plants last week.
Yeah.
But he got one that I guess is very, very difficult to take care
It's
of.
a calathea.
Sure. And Lily, my sister, was like, oh, I would just throw it away. I was like, you don't even think he should try? She's like, no, whenever I get a complicated plant, I just throw it away. Okay. Well, I think he's going to give it a shot. And it's still alive.
It is? Where is it?
Yeah, downstairs.
Oh,
Yeah, it's kicking.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, I think it's time for
Alternative Segments!
Alternative
Segments!
All right. On this week's alternative segment, Priscilla, you have a surprise alternative segment for us. Is that correct?
do.
It is.
Oh.
Well, yes. It is. I know it's a surprise because I don't know about it.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'm really excited to hear about it.
So we're gonna have to like cue or take a quick break after I announce it, and you're gonna insert a little sound clip over there.
All right.
This one is called "Did I Do That?" And then this is where you're gonna put in Steve Urkel saying, "Did I do that?"
Did I do that?
And it's funny because I just listened to your last or I'm not gonna say last because I don't know when this will air, but the episode talking about embarrassment. And I had thought of this question even before I heard that. So what I want us to talk about is a specific moment where you did something that a lot of people could perceive as embarrassing, but now that you look back on it, you just think it's hilarious.
Oh, that's a very good question.
I already have one. I was going to do it as a pizza secret, but
All right. Can I have a minute to think about mine? And process?
Absolutely.
All right. Let me process for a second. Something that should be embarrassing, but I'm like, I think it's kind of funny. I feel like I have a lot of things like that.
yeah, I feel like I have one, but I know there are many.
I know.
I feel like this is something we should definitely. This is an alternative segment we should revisit.
a recurring one. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like.
I like
this.
this.
Is a great one,
This is a
Priscilla.
great one.
That's a great question. All right, Kristin, you go. I feel like
Okay.
I have kind of a general.
That's
one.
okay. I did this last week, so it's current. It's up
All
to
right.
date.
Up to date. Up to date.
I was taking care of a patient. I took out her sutures, and then I was going to put these things called steri strips on. They're like butterfly bandages. They look like little tiny pieces of tape.
Mm.
A lot of my patients have a hard time healing, so I like to put these on. Technically, you don't have to. I do, because it also makes them not touch the incision after I take out the sutures, because some people are picky,
Yep.
like as in they pick, and it gets them into trouble. So this is a very nice lady. I take out her sutures, and she's like, "Thank you." I go, "Okay." And I didn't, it's like one of those things that just comes out of your mouth and you don't think about it. And I go, "Okay, sit down. I got to strip you down." She's like, what? And I go, strip you down. And she's like, oh. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, I was like on a 10-second lag time. And I was like, oh man. And luckily she's like this cute elderly woman and very nice and thought it was funny instead of like some of my other patients who would have either been wildly offended or super creepy. And she was like, oh, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
My coworkers said they would have been really embarrassed.
I don't think you need to be embarrassed.
I think yeah.
That was a good answer.
Yeah. Well, it just happened.
Yeah. Current.
Just keep it, it's all for the podcast.
Yep.
No, it can't. I heard the joke for the first time too when I said it.
Yep. All right. I think mine is kind of a more general thing that I do this and I think it's funny. And I think a lot of people would find it embarrassing and do find it embarrassing and try to get me to stop. But I'm like, no, I'm doing a bit with myself where when I like drunkenly harass people, especially like men, but like that time I was trying to get that man to buy me a taco.
Oh yeah.
And
he was getting upset.
He was getting upset. And I was like, no, this guy is buying me a taco.
You were so convinced.
And he was like, I'm not buying you a taco.
He was so
and Kristin
upset.
kept trying to get me to leave the line. She's like, let's go. We need to get a cab home. And I was like, no, this guy's going to buy me a taco. And I think from the outside, it looks like I'm being like super, super drunk and so sloppy. And I'm just like not aware of where I am. But I'm fully aware of what I'm doing, where I'm pretending to misunderstand the situation, where I'm like, no. And he's got it. And he's like, I'm not buying you a taco. And he kept saying it. And he didn't buy me a taco. But the whole time, I was like, this is
so
hilarious.
Convinced. I remember that.
I thought it was the funniest bit that I was doing purely for myself. It was making him angry. You were getting upset.
I was upset because he was upset. And I was like, we're about to get punched in the face.
This man is not going to buy you a taco. Like, yes, he is.
He's like, get your friend out of here. I'm not buying her a fucking taco. I was like, I think she wants a burrito, but
and I think that's
beside the point.
I think that's just hilarious. And I think smaller men than I would find that embarrassing. But I wake up and I'm like, yup, I stand by that. What I did last night.
That decision.
No drunken regrets there.
Listen, it's sometimes fun to make other people angry.
Right?
Yeah, I said there was like a 50% chance he would have actually bought you a taco.
There was part of me that was like, I kind of think this might work.
I think
this guy might buy me a taco.
I think some men would have.
Yeah, I think some men would have.
And girls would have.
I was too sloppy to be flirty, I think is the problem.
Yeah, you had to be more, the technique was off.
Yeah, because I wasn't
your heart
really
was in it.
I wasn't really trying to get the taco. I was trying to do the bit. All right, Priscilla, I want to hear yours.
All right, so picture this. It's 2018.
All right.
Okay.
The Tide Pod challenge is all the rage.
You did it?
No.
And survived?
I did not do it.
You're a Tide Pod survivor?
No.
How did we not talk about this before?
My husband and I, we were at, I don't think we were even, no, we had just gotten married the year before. We were at the grocery store. We needed to buy laundry detergent. So he's looking over at the laundry detergent. I'm kind of just doing my thing where I walk away from him and I'm looking at everything, just reading all the labels. Oh, yeah. And I pick up this little package. I think they're the Glade plugins and they're the refills. And so I turn around because he's standing behind me and I go, hey, babe, you want to take shots? And then I turn around and it's not him. Oh. It's just this poor little lady. And I'm just like asking her to do shots of the Glade plugins with me. And I just turned to her and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then I just run over to my husband and I tell him exactly what happened and we just start dying.
Oh my God.
That's a great one.
That's so funny.
I will never forget that story.
Oh, that's such a great
that lady had something to talk about at her bridge club, though.
Yeah, she probably tells that story.
Kids these days, they're doing shots of Glade plugins instead of the Tide Pods.
I'm surprised we didn't hear about that on the news, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't feel embarrassed. Because I'm sure that she ended up going home and telling all her friends and family about it, thinking there was just some crazy tattooed girl at the grocery store, like asking me if I wanted to do shots of Glade.
Right, like what's there to be embarrassed about, you know? Yeah, you gave her an experience at the grocery store. All right, Priscilla, that was an amazing alternative segment.
Pew, 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 pew. Oh, Nice.
All right, and as we trot our horse train
Chop.
chop,
Clip.
chop into the station.
I don't know how horses work.
Apparently you don't.
Yeah.
Because clip chop is not the typical walking pattern. But that's okay because we're cruising so fast on this horse train that we can't even hear this unique horse clop trip pattern. And look at that. We're already at the Pizza Secret station, and that means that it's time for Pizza Secrets. All right, we're gonna do the Pizza Secret song.
What a transition.
I'm pretty good at this radio stuff.
Yeah.
Thank God this isn't live. Like live radio. Can you imagine?
No.
All right, Priscilla, do you know the Pizza Secret song?
Yes, I do.
Is it your favorite song?
I do
of
love
ours?
it.
Right?
It's
a classic.
staple.
It's sweet and simple. All right, I'll do our regular countdown.
Pizza Secrets.
Tell me your secrets.
Pizza Secrets.
Pizza Secrets. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Priscilla, based on all your other stories that you have told us, I'm very excited to hear your Pizza Secret. So,
All right.
Same.
Yeah.
So I kind of have two. One of them
Excellent.
is super short, and I'll save that one for last.
Okay.
But so the first one I am going to tell you about is, didn't one of you have a significant other that worked at Hot Topic?
That's me.
Yeah, Christopher.
That's
He
me.
worked there for such a short amount of time, and he was so mad at me for putting it in the
And
show
he
notes.
still, because we still bring it up. He's like, you guys.
And former Hot Topic,
Yeah.
Christopher.
He's like, at one
I
time.
worked there for like a few months.
All right, I got him beat. So
All right.
when I was 18, I moved out of my parents' house and I started working a job. And around the holidays, I was like, I'm just going to get a second job to make a little extra money to buy people gifts. And I ended up getting a job at Hot Topic.
Nice.
Yes.
And I worked there for a whopping 2 days.
Whoa.
The manager was such a dick, and he was making me close the store when I had just started working there. I was
Oh my
only
God.
18 years old, and
Oh.
he was just an asshole to me constantly, very just like misogynistic.
Ugh.
And so after my second shift, I never showed up again, even though I was
Nice.
on the schedule. I didn't answer any of his phone calls asking me where I
Nice.
was.
Nice.
And I never went to go pick up my paycheck because I was like, you know
Oh.
what? Fuck this and fuck you. I don't need you.
That's amazing. So you
Nice.
just ghosted Hot Topic.
Absolutely.
I love that so
I love
much.
Yeah. And then my second one is, so in your tiny-sode when you were doing the podcast reviews,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
you remember the one that said BFFs even though they don't know it yet?
Yes.
That's me.
No way.
So guys, I made it officially. We're all
Yes,
best friends
official.
now. And
Yes.
so yeah, I had
Now
to go
we know
back.
it.
Now you know who it was. I wrote it down per no OP. I have no idea
Oh,
why
per
it
no
came
OP.
out that way, but that is me.
All right. Yeah, I remember stumbling over that name.
So
That's so
listeners,
funny.
if you have a dream, it's possible. Anything is possible because I am here now.
You manifested
That's such
it.
a great message.
I know. Inspirational. I know. Look at this. Oh, we are real friends.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
man.
This.
You turned that dream into a goal and you achieved it by just
Yep.
reaching out to us and saying, hey, what if I came on the podcast? And we were like, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
What a
So,
great idea.
Yeah. Sometimes all you have to do is ask, for the things you want.
Yeah.
And that was a great
That was,
inspirational
yeah,
pizza
that was
secret.
great. That was like one of our best pizza secrets, I would say.
I know. Priscilla, you nailed this whole thing. Also, real quick, speaking of working at a mall job for 2 days, I worked at Aeropostale in the mall for 1 day. I did 1 day of training
Nice.
and then just never
And
went
you're
back.
like, yeah, not for me.
Yeah, I didn't have an asshole manager or anything. I was just like, I hate this. I don't
Retail
wanna
is
work
the
here.
worst.
Retail
Yeah,
is hard.
I had no stomach for it.
I've never worked in retail. I did work at Ruby Tuesdays for 2 weeks,
You did.
long enough to put in my 2-week notice.
But yeah, I've never done real retail other than my 1 day at Aeropostale.
I did Urban Outfitters for a few
Oh.
months, and that wasn't the worst. That was okay. But besides that, I can't do retail. I do not have the patience for that.
Same.
No.
I would just like yell at a customer. Like, I just don't care.
Yeah, agreed. Or I wouldn't yell at him. I think I would. No. I would not yell at it. I would go over the top to please them and then still get yelled at. And then I would probably cry every day.
See,
Or
that's
just
why you
say
never-
you have to
That's
go
what
in
I
the
do
back.
right now in the hospital. No, just kidding. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
Say you have to go to the back to grab their clothes, so like see if they have their size, and they just never come back out.
Ooh, that's such a great idea.
That would be so satisfying to just like not only ghost the job, but just ghost the customer and the job.
Okay. If you have any great working in retail stories, I know you do, listeners.
Yes.
Write them in at weirdsofeather@gmail.com. I think that has been our episode today. Priscilla, thank you so much for coming on twice.
Yes. You were
Thank you for
incredible.
having
Incredible
me.
to talk to you. We definitely want to have you on again. Listeners, watch out for her row dog treats.
Yes.
Roach-
Yeah. Will you give us your resources again in this episode where people can find you and your business?
Absolutely. So my personal Instagram is at Potato Socks. And
We've talked about it. I won't bring it up again because we'll never end the episode.
The Instagram for Row is, I'm still working on the website and everything. All of that is a work in progress. But anything that gets updated will be posted to my Instagram, which is Row, RO_ dog treats. And yeah, just follow there. I know there isn't much content on there right now. It's all a work in progress. But just starting to get that following is definitely going to be a huge step for me as well.
Yeah, everyone go follow her. And
I'm
be following.
I'm on Instagram right now. I'm going to follow her.
Follow it. All right. Yes, Priscilla, thank you so much for joining us. You were incredible. We'll have you back at some point. And this was just amazing. We hope you had a fun time.
Thank you guys so much.
You can find us on Instagram at Weirds of a Feather. You can find us on Facebook in the Facebook group Weirds of a Feather. You can email us at weirdsofafeather@gmail.com. Look out for the polls on Instagram on Mondays-ish. And you can find the podcast on Apple and Spotify and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Give us a review, please.
5 stars or 1 star. And if you write a 1-star, if you leave a 1-star review, you got to write why. That's the rule.
Yep. Explain your disdain for us.
Yep.
Explain your disdain. And if you leave us a 5-star review and a positive one like Priscilla's, who knows? Maybe you too could get on the podcast.
Yeah.
And isn't that exciting? All right. Shall we call it out?
Call it out.
Squawk it out.
Squawk it out. Yeah, squawk it
All right,
out.
Priscilla, you want to start us off with a squawk it out?
Caw, caw.
Oh, that's a
Classic.
good one. That's a classic. Oldie but a goodie.
Yep.
Mm.
I don't know what that is. Also a classic.
That's
How about
that is my class.
Ooh,
Oh, whoa.
That was a good
That
one.
was good.
I
I was going to do a turkey.
and then I forgot what a turkey said. That was pretty good.
Oh.
It was lovely.
It was lovely.